Let's find out who is the T-102 SportsNow.com Fanelli, Evans, and Patel Athlete of the Week. This student athlete showed their mettle in competition and put up incredible numbers, just like Fanelli, Evans, and Patel. With over 100 years of combined experience, the attorneys at Fanelli, Evans, and Patel provide results you can count on.
Welcome back. Another Fanelli, Evans, and Patel T102 SportsNow.com Athlete of the Week. This week's honor going to Tamaqua senior Mason Ligenza. Mason, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So, big time week you're coming off of. Struck out 16 against Pine Grove last Thursday. Gave up just one hit. Saturday, you hit a round tripper in a really tight 4-3 win over East Stroudsburg South to stay unbeaten here to start the season. As we turn the calendar to April, what's kind of been working for you on this hot start, and what is the team coming together here late in March?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we kind of played pretty good against Pine Grove. That was kind of a tight one, pretty much the whole game till the end. Same thing on that Saturday, kind of had to, bear down at the end. But I think, and we've kind of talked about this as a team after those games, and same with Pottsville, that was a close game too. I think this year, winning those close games, I mean, we're not always going to have that big, 10-run game with, 12 hits, stuff like that. But when we could really bear down in those games and kind of, get a walk here, bunt them over then, and then kind of get that single to score them, you only need that one run to win the game. You don't need all 10 of them. But I think if we want to get to where we were last year and even go farther, I think we got to be able to win those games along with, taking those big run games and hitting games, but kind of been stressing that at practice, keeping the same approach, not getting too high, too low, and just kind of keeping it rolling.
So what's it like going from a 4-16 team your freshman year all the way to a league title last season, and now obviously riding the momentum from last year's group all the way to a great start this year?
Yeah, I think starting my freshman year, didn't really know what to expect. And, like you just said, 4-16, the team morale, it wasn't great, to be honest. And then kind of moving into a more leadership role, especially last year. And then the freshmen we had last year got a lot of playing time. And then I think moving on to this year as sophomores, that's really going to help us. Even though we are pretty young with those kids, we do have a lot of seniors too. And after this year, it's kind of our last run at it. So, I mean, every day we're trying to put it all out in the field. Like, we're not trying to leave anything in the tank. But I think growing into a leadership role that junior year, carrying it over into this year and getting experience, because, I mean, you could practice all you want, but getting that game experience as upperclassmen and the youngclassmen, like I mentioned, is really the biggest. I mean, you can't put a price on that. So I think that's kind of been the biggest thing for us, but we're not trying to dwell on the past. We're kind of trying to look, and also not too much on the future. We're just trying to stay present. Like I just mentioned, not too high, not too low, attack every day, and then build on those days. And if you add up enough of those days, I mean, hopefully we get back to where we were, but we're kind of just trying to keep it rolling.
So for those who don't know, Mason is 6'6". He's got an 86-mile-an-hour fastball, hitting absolute moonshots his whole career. And he could run. He could cook on the base pass as well. So you've got all the tools. I'm curious for you at this point with your development as a player. Is there a part of your game you've been focusing on recently to improve?
Yeah, I think it's not even on the physical side. I think it's all the mental approach. I mean, this game, it's just a game of failure. In the major league level, 3 out of 10 times you're a Hall of Famer and you'll be talked about for forever. And especially with, last year, and we're probably the team that's quote unquote being hunted in the league. You win the championship last year, you're probably going to have that title. But I think, you have those good games, but you want to remember those. You get excited for yourself, and that's kind of why you put on that work. But then those bad games when things don't go your way, stuff like that, you kind of have to fall back to mental approach, trust the work that you put in. Because if you have those bad games and you kind of let them build on each other and build, I mean, you're never going to get out of it. And you kind of have to learn to forget quick, as hard as it is. But that's something that I've been working on. Definitely, it's probably harder than any of the physical part, just because of, you really don't have control over it. But I think the mental approach has been something that I've been trying to build on for the past, I would say, year, but really getting more serious about it this past couple months.
So you've been committed to Pitt for about a year and a half. It's been a while at this point. Going to play major Division I baseball there soon. When it comes to the next level defensively, do you envision yourself primarily as a pitcher or an outfielder?
Right now, I see myself as an outfielder. I think I have the most potential there, but like you said, I mean, I'm still young. I mean, I'm already kind of, pretty big kid, but you never know when you get to a college weight room and with college coaches, they could kind of do work their magic a little bit. But primarily, my focus has been on the outfield. Still doing my stuff on the mound like I've done since I was, however old, but still doing both. And until they take one side of it out of my game, we're just going to keep rolling with both, and we're going to see what happens.
So we talked about the present time. We talked a little bit about your future at Pitt. I want to get into your past now. Your background as an athlete. So do you currently play any other sports?
Currently, no, just baseball is what I do.
Growing up, I assume that was a little different. What was your go-to as a younger kid, and what kind of made baseball your favorite eventually?
Yeah, so I think growing up, my favorite was basketball. I think my dad kind of had that. He kind of prompted that a little bit. That was his thing growing up. So I kind of started playing with that with the same kids I do play with now. Then baseball was kind of, I like to say, it was just, they were all kind of obviously just to do for fun. But basketball, when I was younger, was a little more serious. I think baseball was kind of just something I did, when basketball season wasn't in. I got a little older, probably when I was like around 12. Started getting into golf a little bit. When I was younger, around when I started playing basketball and baseball, absolutely hated golf, despised it, never watched it on TV, never wanted to go play. And I don't know if a flip just switched in my head. So I got my first set, started playing then, and then played all three. And then when things started to get a little more serious with baseball, kind of realized that I could maybe, take this somewhere outside of just high school and stuff like that. Made the tough decision. I stopped playing basketball. Still play golf with, my friends, stuff like that. But I stopped playing for like our high school team. And then it just moved to strictly baseball. And yeah, it was definitely a really tough decision at the time. But looking back, very glad that I made that decision.
How'd you stuck with basketball? Do you think you would have broke your dad's record in time?
I don't know. I think I was more of a defensive guy. I just I wasn't much of the shooter. I know my coach, he would always beg me just shoot, just shoot, just shoot. But I was like, in the moment, I'm just like, give it to someone else. I'll set the screen and I'll go play defense. But yeah, I don't know. That's my sister's thing now. So I'll cheer her on for that.
So, kind of a follow-up question with you playing baseball year-round, and obviously you've played in a lot of different states with travel ball. You hear a lot now about the Tommy John stuff, especially with guys that are throwing year-round and having to have multiple surgeries, before they even get to the majors or sometimes even in college. What's your plan? How do you kind of manage all that to keep your arm all right?
Yeah, I definitely don't keep high intensity throwing all year round. I kind of like after, like you said, I mean, if you're playing all spring, summer, and then fall, like you kind of need a break. So winter kind of shut it down a little bit. You're still getting in the weight room with your body. But then I think when you start that back up, come wherever it's different for everyone, but like start of the year, it's a slow and gradual increase. You never know. You never want to, increase it too quick because that's how like all these injuries happen. But I think in season, especially too, kind of managing your workload. If you threw a lot one day, you just have to listen to your arm. I mean, there's no really excuse for going to practice and letting it eat in, like an IO situation just to see how hard you could throw it when that's not going to benefit you or your team. So, my coaches have been great. Everyone that helps me or around me has been kind of great with feedback. Our trainers, getting in there with working with treatment and stuff like that. But just kind of listening to your body, building up when you need to, kind of taking a deload when you need to as well, has been kind of beneficial to me. And that's what I'm going to kind of stick with moving on here.
So I wanted to touch on the upcoming MLB draft this summer. There's a shot that you could be picked in this thing. You really never know. Has that always kind of been an individual goal or an expectation of yours?
I'm going to be honest. I never thought that it would even be a possibility. It was kind of just, it really started with way back when I was however old. It was starting as a freshman on my high school team. And then it moved to, I want to play college baseball. And then when that was, I committed there. Then it was moved on to just keep playing summer ball and one thing left after another. And then started going to these events and scouts are there. And I go to Alabama, California. And then it kind of comes into reality that like maybe you could actually, take this to that level. But it's still, I honestly think, and I still joke with my parents, like the events that I went to, I didn't even know were a thing. I didn't even know that was even a possibility with professional. I thought I went to college. You figure that away. You just play high school baseball. You move on to college because going right out of high school is just crazy. But like I always said, it's one day at a time. I don't want to look too far into the future. But if I can control what I do every day and build on those days, we're gonna see what happens. But I'm looking forward to whatever does happen.
Yeah, and that's the cool part about being from a small town, like Tamaqua and like the Skook in general, is you don't really think about those things when you're growing up through youth sports. You're having fun with your teammates. You want to win games, and all the individual stuff starts coming, and then it kind of makes it that much more special. When you realize, hey, like we're not city kids or anything, but we could end up in the city. You'll be moving out to Pittsburgh, and that's a great city, and that'll be really cool to be right there on campus. And everything that comes with that as well. So want to have a little bit of fun before we get you out of here. Let's do some Schuylkill County this or that edition. We'll start it off with trucks or Jeeps.
Trucks.
All right, let's go hunting or fishing.
Hunting.
All right. In the summer, would you rather be chilling at a bonfire or at a block party?
Bonfire.
Okay, and we'll do, to end it, a Tamaqua specific one. You want to grab a slice of pizza? You going to DiMaggio's or Basile's?
DiMaggio's.
DiMaggio's. All right, that is Mason Ligenza, this week's T102sportsnow.com Fanelli, Evans, and Patel Athlete of the Week. Mason, on behalf of everybody from T102 Sports, congratulations and good luck the rest of the season and in your career at Pitt.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Check us out next Wednesday for another T102sportsnow.com Fanelli, Evans, and Patel Athlete of the Week. At Fanelli, Evans, and Patel, get the best when faced with the worst.